Fables of the Fen. Stories to read aloud by Sherry Lambourne. Chapter 2. Duck Dignity. Do to others as you would like them to do to you. Luke 6:31. Several days had passed since McMallard arrived at the pond. He became an expert at swimming, or so he thought. One bright day, while enjoying his freedom, gliding along the surface, something hit him in the back of the head. He completely lost his balance, and his head went under his feet, under the surface of the water. As ducks do without much effort, he rolled right back up and blinked his wet eyes. What was that? He thought. Then before he could take one more breath, it happened again. He again rolled over, head under feet and back up again. Another complete somersault. The third time, McMallard saw it coming, straight for him. Like a dive-bombing pilot, a huge black dragonfly with light blue-tipped wings flew smack straight into his head. "Ouch!" said McMallard. "That hurt!" He heard the dragonfly snicker and sneer with laughter as he flew away. The snickering hurt his heart as much as the lump on his head. Guinevere came to his rescue. Running and honking viciously, she gave that dragonfly a piece of her mind. "Stop it! How dare you pick on him?" she shouted as he flew away. The dragonfly flew in a large circle and came back, zooming at them both with speed that was mesmerizing. That means so exciting you can't look away. McMallard thought for sure the dragonfly was going to crash right into his face. But the moment he got within 3 inches of him, the dragonfly came to a startling stop. It was as if he had hit a glass wall. He hovered in midair in front of him like a tiny helicopter. "Why should I stop? It's fun," laughed the dragonfly at Guinevere's rebuke. Guinevere protested. "Because it's not nice, and McMallard is just a baby and new to the pond. We need to help him get adjusted, not make it hard for him. And your behavior is just plain mean." The dragonfly jerked from spot to spot, and McMallard's head followed his every move, making his head hurt even more. But he was fascinated by the dragonfly's ability and speed. The dragonfly would come to a direct stop and hover in one place for a long time. His wings moved so quickly, he wasn't sure they were really wings. "Okay," giggled the dragonfly, "I'll stop." But it was obvious he really didn't want to. "Stay close to me, Mick," said Guinevere. She called him Mick for short, like a nickname. "Sometimes these guys are too aggressive and think they are playing when it's not play at all. Those dragonflies hang out together like a pack of bullies. No telling when several of them will be back. They can be so annoying." She shook her head in disgust. "I'll be okay," said Mick, a little embarrassed. McMallard loved having a mother, but sometimes mothering can be too much when you're a growing boy. Guinevere was right. Later that afternoon, those bully dragonflies came back in full force, in a huge swarm. There were 6 of them, all buzzing and laughing. Word had gotten out that there was a new young duckling on the pond, just waiting to be their toy for the day. They buzzed around Mick's head in a circle, each lap coming closer and closer and faster. Mick was getting so dizzy trying to watch them. Then the dragonfly that first hit Mick in the head, his name was Dankworth, hollered to his friends, "See, I told you this squirt was easy." Suddenly, when Dankworth turned his head around to talk to the others, he slowed down for just a second. Immediately, Dagger came from behind him and crashed into Dankworth. Deatheridge crashed into Dagger. Deerwester crashed into Deatheridge. Detmer crashed into Deerwester, and Devilbliss crashed into Detmer. Blue-tipped wings went everywhere. What was once a mean-spirited group of bully dragonflies became a pile of mixed-up legs, wings, antennae, and tails on the surface of the water, all flailing about, trying to untangle themselves from themselves and the thick, green, gooey algae. Laughter was now heard, not coming from the dragonflies, but from the geese. Gabigail was laughing so hard she laid over on her side in the water. Gus's deep chuckle penetrated the pond like a deep bass note. Gomer Goose held his sides with his white and gray wings and said, "It hurts, it hurts. You know how it hurts when you laugh too hard." Even Gerhard Goose, who was always so serious, found himself chuckling out loud. It was not usual for him to show any emotion, but this was too good to ignore. They not only looked ridiculous trying to untangle themselves, they were covered in green slime, so they could barely fly. The 6 of them sputtered back to their hiding place in the cattails, where they rested and caught their breath. There was an unusual and embarrassed silence among them. They had definitely been humiliated in front of the geese. As they recovered their dignity, each silently sitting on a cattail, Dankworth broke the silence. "That was so funny," he said, wiping green slime from his eyes. "I really gave it to him at least 5 times, exaggerating the number of times he had hit Mick in the head. "Yeah, you really plastered him," said Devilbliss, still uneasy about how they had looked so stupid in front of the geese. "I could have helped you drown the silly yellow thing had I been in the right spot." "Me too," said Deerwester. "We all could have given him a good dunking." "The next time we're together, let's gang up on him again and let him have it," said Deatheridge. "We can show everyone on the pond who the tough guys are." "Yeah, we are the tough guys all right," said Deerwester. "We can take a dare any day and come out on top. It's just too bad you stopped and turned around, Dankworth. That really messed us up. We really would have made him so dizzy he wouldn't have known which end was up. You really spoiled the fun." "You guys just weren't paying attention," argued Dankworth. "Yes, we were. You were the one that stopped the circle," shouted Devilbliss. "You are the reason we were humiliated." "Yeah," said Detmer, who really hadn't participated too much in the conversation out of fear. "I think you need to redeem yourself and take a dare." "What's redeem myself mean?" asked Dankworth angrily. "You need to make up for your mistake," said Detmer. "We will think of something." The dragonflies sat silently for a long time in the sun, thinking about how to make Dankworth pay for his mistake. Dankworth looked out over the cattails, thinking about how angry he was getting, and how he was going to take revenge on this new little duck. He was also worried about what his friends were scheming to make him pay for his mistake, and his stomach started to hurt. In the hot midday sun, his eyes finally closed, and he went to sleep. Let's talk about this. How did Mick feel when he was hit in the head and laughed at? What did he do? Press pause. Did Dankworth treat Mick with dignity and respect? Press pause. Do you think the other dragonflies really respected Dankworth? Press pause. Listen to the song. That's called Dignity.
Living by the golden rule, let me tell you what that means. Treating one another like princes, kings, and queens. When you ruffle my feathers and say an unkind word, we talk a lot and work it out. That's called dignity. Sometimes it's hard to be nice when my feelings aren't nice at all. Sometimes it's hard to be patient when I've waited way too long. But keeping my head on straight and thinking first of you, being gentle and kind while I'm losing my mind, that's called dignity. Living by the golden rule, let me tell you what that means. Treating one another like princes, kings, and queens. When you ruffle my feathers and say an unkind word, we talk a lot and work it out. That's called dignity. Sometimes it's hard to be sweet when others aren't sweet to you. Sometimes my friends make me do something I don't want to do. But standing on my own 2 feet and saying a prayer to care, being gentle and sweet while I'm gritting my teeth, that's called dignity. Living by the golden rule, let me tell you what that means. Treating one another like princes, kings, and queens. When you ruffle my feathers and say an unkind word, we talk a lot and work it out. That's called dignity. We talk a lot and work it out. That's called dignity.